your boy Francis Lee for NYY News. Welcome. We're back. You guys haven't heard from me since the Orioles series, which seems like forever ago, right? Before the Orioles series. So we'll get into how that series ended. We'll jump into what transpired down at the Trop, and then we'll give a preview to what we can expect for the Yanks heading into Dunedin to play the Florida Blue Jays. But of course, as promised, my exclusive footage for you guys from Game 3 against the Baltimore Orioles, right? Beautiful, right? Exclusive stuff. Watch this. Oh, I know Kevin Youkilis was going to block the footage. I had no idea. I think, oh, there's A-Rod. Oh, God, I'm sorry, guys. I mean, you had Giancarlo up with ducks on the pond. Something definitely was going to happen here, but, you know, these guys just blocked the view entirely. Welcome to Yankee Stadium. I'm so sorry. I'm obviously kidding. The Yankees forgot how to hit in that game. But let's talk about the experience going to Yankee Stadium before I get into that. You can see there's not very many fans in the stands because we're limited capacity, just 20% I think at the moment. So seating is like very sporadic across the stadium. It's pretty empty when you're there, which is great because like it feels like a ghost town. You can walk around pretty freely. You're not constantly bumping into people, rubbing elbows with people. But if you're like me, you do kind of miss that. There is a roar in the stadium, but it's nothing like when the stadium is crowded and like you feel the place move. But yeah, there's that. Also, just a few things to know. If you're going to a Yankee game this season, you do have to get tested for COVID-19. If you're going to do a rapid test, it needs to be within 6 hours of the start time of the game. If you're going to do a PCR test, it has to be within 3 days of said game. Unless, of course, you are fully vaccinated, then all you have to do is show your, of course, first posted on social media, vaccination card, and you're allowed into the game. Once inside the stadium, one of the first things you're going to notice is that food and drink concessions are pretty much operating at about 50%, which, I don't know, seems to create more lines and more crowds, which kind of is counterproductive to the whole social distance, 6 feet apart thing. But what do I know? I'm not Dr. Fauci. So there's that. And then, but of course, the shops to buy jerseys, shirts, hats, all the, fan goods and stuff like that. All that stuff is open and at full capacity, if you ask me. But yeah, that's pretty much some of the first few things I noticed going into the stadium. But most importantly, it just felt good to be back there. I felt like, felt like I was home, just being back, watching a game with a beer in my hand. It wasn't the beer that I wanted because they no longer seem to sell Shock Top at Yankee Stadium, which sucks. And yeah, I went to get the famed chicken bucket that we all were saying how much we missed last year. And that wasn't the same. I don't know what they're doing there, but the texture, the consistency of that chicken is not what I remember it to be. I don't know where they got these wings from, but they were poorly made. And it seems like after they were poorly made, they just dipped them in a bowl of Frank's hot sauce and threw them in a bucket and sold them to me for $20. What can I say? Not the best, but even that just couldn't put a damper on me being at a live Yankee game for the first time in over a year. So, I was just very happy to be there. I walked around a lot, took in views from parts of the stadium I don't normally venture to when it's as crowded as it normally is. Of course, I would have liked to have gone to a game that they actually knew how to win. Because like I said before, they forgot how to do that in Game 3 against the Orioles and decided to carry that on the road to Tampa. But we'll get into that later. The Yankees, this was a pretty frustrating game. John Means is by no means, no pun intended, if that even is a pun, a great pitcher, a Cy Young candidate pitcher. But he pretty much looked like one this night against the New York Yankees, who could not find a way to hit a 92, 93 mile an hour fastball that many times leaked right over the heart of the plate. Not Aaron Judge, of course, who sat in this game due to left side soreness, but the likes of Giancarlo couldn't seem to catch up. The likes of Clint Frazier couldn't seem to catch up. Gleyber Torres couldn't seem to catch up. Jay Bruce, do we even want to? No, right? I know. Aaron Hicks, nothing. It was just lifeless. Offense was just really flat, dead. If you want to go there. No, let's just say lifeless and on their way because they eventually would die at some point. But yeah, not a good game, and they lost in frustrating fashion. They tied it up late in the game. We go to extras. Chad Green comes in, does everything he needs to do to strand Manfred's ghost runner at second, and on the on a ground out that should have been, out number 3. Gleyber Torres waits on it instead of charging it, and then has to make a rush throw, which of course is an errant throw, and Jay Bruce doesn't catch it, and they end up scoring the run anyway. Right? Yankee stuff, right? The stuff of our nightmares this season. I want to say that, yes, was it all on Gleyber? I don't know, because I think there are first basemen who catch that ball that bounces in the dirt from shortstop. But how often should a throw from short be bouncing in the dirt, right? Like, we know that the elite shortstops of the game are going to make that throw pretty much 9.7 times out of 10, and it's going to be like right to the first baseman's chest, right? They're not throwing it into the dirt. I mean, it's not from third. It's not, Gleyber's got to be better defensively. We know that. This game just really sucked. Having the game end essentially on something like that, because in the bottom of the inning, the Yankees did end up scoring their ghost runner, so we would have walked it off, which would have been great for me, especially being my first game back. But no, it just meant we had an extra inning to watch the Yankees try to hit again, which ended up sucking even worse than it did the rest of the game. They end up losing. I predicted them to sweep that series, which they should have, but they didn't. They take 2 out of 3, and so I was wrong. 2 series in, and 2 wrong series predictions. Why do we even watch Francis Lee, right? Anyway, moving on to the series against Tampa Bay. This series, like many other series, when the Yankees are heading to the Trop, you always kind of think, right, it's not going to be good. We're in for some more punishment, especially if we're coming off of a loss. We're in for more, right? Heading to the Trop is just always some funky, wonky things going on during the game, and it just seems like the Yanks never come out on top. We can't figure it out these last couple of years. I think it goes back even to 2018. It's terrible, but it's what we're dealing with now, right? So going into this series, I know a lot of people expected probably losing. Me, on the other hand, calling Mr. Optimism, I thought the Yanks were going to take 2 out of these 3, and I'll tell you why right now. I liked our pitching going into this series, right? I liked our matchups better because we had Kluber game 1, Domingo Germán game 2, and Monty game 3. And I said Monty's gonna get game 3 regardless. And then we just need Domingo or Kluber to take one of them to show up, not both. One of them to show up. I did not bank on both of them essentially not showing up. I don't think that was the case as much for Kluber as it was for Domingo, right? Let's jump right in. Kluber's game got a lot of scrutiny, and they blamed a lot on him. I don't blame as much on Kluber. I thought Kluber's stuff was sharp. I thought Kluber's stuff was missing a lot. I thought Kluber ran into some of the worst luck, and I wasn't surprised. Why? Because, again, we were playing at the Trop. And when we play at the Trop, this is the kind of bullshit that happens, right? So Kluber's start, I was just like, oh, here we go again. This is how it's going to be. So when he was relieved early in the game, I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me because we're at the Trop, and this is normally how things happen at the Trop. But I don't think that he was just pitching a terrible game, and I do think that if he found a way to get into the later innings, it wouldn't have ended with a 10-5 score, which is what it ended as. But that's what happened, and Corey Kluber, not happy about it. Bottom third, already on the bench. You never want to see that as a starting pitcher. And definitely not if you're Corey Kluber and you're trying to work your way back to a certain pitch count and certain reps. But, it wasn't in the cards. So, we lose game 1. The Yankees, there were some silver linings, I guess. No, for sure there were, because there weren't any in game 2. Yeah, there were in game 2, but I'll get to that. Aaron Hicks hit a home run in game 1, which was nice. But other than that, I don't really think of anything else offensively. I mean, yeah, we do score 5 runs. DJ gets his first home run of the year too in this game. But there wasn't much offense to go around. 5 runs to me was even misleading. Like I don't even think the offense was 5 runs good enough. We were terrible, and it would get worse. I think the important thing to realize too is this game defensively was putrid. We had Judge out for the second straight game, so Guardy's in the outfield. Not to say he played bad defense, but the infield is what more I was saying is that Urshela sitting out due to complications from the COVID-19 vaccination meant that Tyler Wade had to be put into the lineup, right? So Tyler Wade plays second. DJ's moved over to third. Gleyber's still at shortstop, which hasn't been good. Jay Bruce at first, which hasn't been good. And Tyler Wade is now at second, which even in spring training wasn't really good. So that reared its ugly head pretty early in the game. And again, was I surprised? Not so much because it is the Trop. And these are the Yankees at the Trop. So, game one, not the best. Game two, another thing about game one, we were facing Rich Hill. We were facing Rich Hill. I'm not trying to really crap on the guy, but Rich Hill doesn't throw hard, throws a lot of stuff that moves a ton, but makes a lot of mistakes over the plate. And he continued to do that against our lineup in this game, and we just did not capitalize the way that we should have. I mean, we had that big inning, the 3 runs, the 3-4 run inning right there, but that was it. That was it. We couldn't, we had him on the ropes. We come back out the next inning, and it was just nothing. That's it, nothing. I mean, you're getting hits. You're getting some hits, but it's not doing anything, and you're not getting the big hit, right? We didn't stay in this game at all. We ended up getting, in a sense, embarrassed. Game two, different story. Domingo Germán was not good, was not sharp. Domingo Germán, right from the outset, he gives up this home run to Austin Meadows, which was kind of a cheapie. And if you go back and watch it, it's a home run to right field. It hits off the lower part of the foul pole netting. And, it's really kind of a cheapie. And it was this close to being a foul ball, really, probably a foot more to the right, and it's foul. But home run nonetheless, and they take a lead. The Yankees obviously don't respond because they forget how to hit again. And Germán continues to struggle, ends up giving up a home run to Arozarena, his first home run of the season. Tell me how excited you were to see that guy trotting the bases with that stupid smile on his face and flexing. I wasn't. I really disliked the guy. And I really disliked the Rays. But apparently the Yankees really like to lose to them and make us go through this pain. Because game two was nothing more than that. Pain and suffering. I think outside of opening day against the Blue Jays, this was the most frustrating game of the season. I think it might have been more frustrating than opening day because we didn't even score. We didn't do anything. I mean, this offense literally died. I mean, it was terrible, right? Chris Archer started the game, and I thought we had a good shot against him like I did against Rich Hill. I was not expecting too much from Chris Archer. It was unfortunate that Archer went out with an injury after giving up a double to DJ. He goes out with an apparent injury, so prayers up to Chris Archer because we never want to see guys get hurt. But I thought that we were going to beat him, even if he stayed in the game the whole time. I was like, we're going to beat this guy. And we didn't. And I thought Germán would be better. And he wasn't. There was a point in the game where it just reminds me of that famous movie line. You want to see a dead body? Oh, sorry. How'd that get there? I meant this dead body. These dead faces. I mean, Talkman, poor guy. He's just getting it because he's with them. But Jay Bruce, DJ just couldn't get the big hit in this game. It's not that he can't hit. He just wasn't getting the big hit that we're so accustomed to seeing DJ LeMahieu produce. Jay Bruce, what do we say about it? The guy looks bad. I mean, he had that one home run, but it was a Yankee Stadium cheapie. That's a pop-out in a million other stadiums, and if he doesn't have that, then it's just really nothing. So, yeah, Jay Bruce, terrible. So it was really good to get him out of the lineup for Game 3, and maybe this is the game that we had to have for things to move and start changing as they did in Game 3, right? Game 3 is a different story. Game 3 is starts up with the Monty story, right? So, Jordan Montgomery's in this game. Like I said, in the beginning, I predicted us to take 2 out of 3. When we lose the first 2, I said, all right, fine. But we're going to win the third game because Monty's going to show up, right? Monty's going to show up. He's going to be sharp. He's going to carve through this lineup, right? And he's going to give us a great performance. We're going to win this game. Monty, not sharp for the first 4 innings of the game. So it's just again, what do we do? How do we figure this out? The Yankees do find a way to figure out this game, though, right? But story behind this picture here is Monty ends up hitting Austin Meadows twice, right? Cash seemed to think it was intentional. We'll talk about that later. Personally, I don't think it was intentional at all. You look at the pitches that went up and in and went up and got him. They just seem like pitches that got away from Jordan Montgomery. He was trying to find himself the entire night. He himself said that he didn't get into a groove until the 5th inning, which is really late to get into a groove as a starting pitcher in a freaking baseball game. So, I don't think he was aiming at Meadows. I think he was trying to pitch Meadows inside, and the ball's got away. And why would he be trying to pitch Meadows inside? Well, of course he'd be trying to pitch him inside because Meadows was awfully comfortable at the plate against Yankee pitching this series. He's been awfully comfortable against our pitching for quite a while now. Just like Willie Adames, just like Arozarena. So what do we have to do? We need to pitch these guys inside. Unfortunately, when you do that, some are going to get away. you're going to hit a guy. Hitting a guy twice in one game, I mean, nothing else to say, but we're at the Trop. So, of course, shit like this is going to happen. I don't think he did it on purpose. I just took it as, of course, that would happen. We're playing at Tropicana. This field, this stadium, this place is the Twilight Zone. That's why stuff like this happens there. But whatever. Yeah, Monty, not sharp, but a gamer, right? He figures a way to get through this game, right? Randy. Monty ends up giving up two two-run shots, one to Rosarena and the other to, it's going to kill me if I don't remember who the first two-run home run was to. Oh, Mike Zunino, who is a very light-hitting catcher, but ends up hitting pretty decent shot off of Monty. And this, I blame on Gary. This is one of the first things I blame on Gary this year. But hear me out, right? It's 3-2. No, it's 3-1. It's 3-1. No, it's 2-2. 2-2. Sorry. 2-2 count. Gary calls for the changeup. Right? They go with the changeup. I'm sorry. It definitely was like a 3-1 count. They go with the changeup, and it ends up going for like a strike, like a swinging strike. And they go back to the changeup on back-to-back pitches. I don't like that. Not only do I not like it, I really hate it. I'm like, I don't think you do that even to someone who's a light-hitting person like Zunino, because while he might be light-hitting, he's shown pop. So he's not an average guy, but he can hit a ball out. And you're going to go back-to-back on changeups, and you know that Monty's location wasn't ideal this entire game. I thought it was less than ideal pitch calling, and maybe it wasn't Gary's choice, but he went to the changeup again so quickly after they had just thrown one that I felt like it was his choice. But maybe all the sequencing and all that is Cashman's brain trust of nerds. I don't know. But I didn't like that. So yeah, Monty gives up those two two-run shots, and that's pretty much the story for most of the game. We do fight back. We do show signs of life. We had, after we first went down 2-0, excuse me, we go up 3-2 in the next inning, but then we go down 4-3 in the following inning, and that was the story, right, as the series. But Gleyber Torres finally showed up towards the end in the late innings, right? I think it was the 8th, and he gets a game-tying hit, and the Yankees are in business finally, right? And now we have to go to extra innings. And again, our first taste of extra innings was not good. I was there. Well, it was the second one, but we haven't been good in extra innings so far. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, right? And we have people saying, if this goes into extras, I'm just leaving. I'm not watching this game or whatever. Well, we have to watch because it ended up being a great game, and we ended up showing up big time, right? Gio was big in this game. Gio was big in extra innings, right? I got this picture here from the home run that he hit. A 453-foot blast to dead center field. Gio seems like he's waking up. He was 3 for 4 in this game, and if this guy's waking up, I think good things are finally coming for the Yankee offense. But most importantly, this infield was great. This infield was actually good. Gleyber Torres got a hit. Odor got a hit. Yes, Odor, the Yankee. DJ, being DJ. And of course, Gleyber cut off at the end, but that's why I gave him the screen for himself just before that. This infield right now, I mean, until Voit gets back, for me, this is my infield, right? This is what I want. These guys showed up. They won. They fought. It was a tough game. It took a lot of different things to go our way for us to win, but they did what they had to do, and we won the game. We won 8-4. We showed up. Gary Sanchez, what more can you say about him? He's been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal, man. Let's get into some tweets, right? Gary Sanchez has been the best hitter on the Yankees through the first 9 games of the season. He's 8 for 27, 1 double, 2 home runs, only struck out 5 times. He's walked 4 times and 1 hit by a pitch. So he's been on base via the walk, right? Whether intentional or unintentional, whatever. 5 times as much as he's struck out. 296 batting average, 406 OBP, 556 slugging. Gary Sanchez, ladies and gentlemen, Gary Sanchez, through 9 games, has been the best hitter on the New York Yankees. Says a lot, right? Shouts out to him. Moving on to this next tweet, and shouts out to Talking Yanks for that. Moving on to this next tweet, though, our bullpen has continued to be effective, even though we lost a game with a pretty bloated score at the beginning, right? The main guys are still pitching pretty freaking well. Chad Green, Chapman, Loaisiga, Sessa, O'Day, King, Wilson, and now Albert Abreu have combined to throw 32 2/3 innings out of our bullpen this season. They've allowed 0 earned runs and only 10 hits while striking out a whopping 41 batters across that span. Our bullpen has looked great. Now let me stop you there and say, they will not continue to look this great if we have to continue to use them the way that we used them in this Tampa Bay series. The problem, it seems to happen every time we play Tampa, it's that we seem to become Tampa. We seem to try to play their game. That's not our game. We need length out of our starters, and we need to use the high leverage bullpen guys towards the end to save these wins, not to eat a bunch of innings because the starter couldn't get through 5 or 6. You know what I mean? So that's not going to continue working. Kevin Cash referenced after the game that the MLB grossly mishandled the situation with the Yankees last year with a light suspension for Chapman and nothing for Tanaka, and how this issue keeps rolling over. I have 2 things to say to Kevin Cash. The 2 words that I would like to say, I'm not going to say because this is a family channel, but I will say the other thing that I would like to say to Cash. And the other thing is, stop crying. Stop crying. You went to the World Series last year. You lost. But you went, okay, in a 60-game freaking wonky season. You went, all right? You were the team built most perfectly for a sprint that was last year, all right? Stop complaining. You guys started this in 2018. Why they want to play the victim is beyond me. But they started this. Don't forget that they started this. And even last year with Chapman throwing at Brasso, this started before the Blue Jays. Have always been this aggressor because they are the underdog. That it's like they're that really short guy that just feels the need to pick fights with the biggest guy at the party or something like that. And they've been in our shadow for years, and now they're actually pretty good. So they want to pick this fight because it gets them more notoriety. I get it. But you saying things like this as if your guys are some sort of victims is a joke. It's laughable when you're the same guy who last year stood up to the world and said, well, I don't know why they're doing that when I have a whole stable of guys who throw 98 miles an hour. You remember that, Kevin? I do. You don't get to play victim now. Moving on, right? Today we start a series in Dunedin against the Florida Blue Jays, right? What can we expect from this series? Well, I will tell you this, right? I am not going to pull back from my optimistic predictions, right? I predicted a sweep, I think, in the first series against the Blue Jays, right? We lost 2 out of 3. I predicted a sweep against the Orioles, right? We won 2 out of 3. I said my prediction for Tampa was winning 2 out of 3 in that series. We lost 2 out of 3. Well, I'm going to still be optimistic and predict a sweep in this series, right? Which you might say is ridiculous. How's that going to happen? They got Robbie Ray coming back and their lineup and their home or whatever. Listen, we got Cole on the mound tonight in game 1 going against Ray. So even if Ray is good, Cole's going to be better. And our offense seems to have woken up last night, and I like the quick turnover from yesterday's series to today's series. No day off, so we're still hot. We're ready to go. I think it's going to be good. I think the offense is going to show up. I don't think Robbie Ray is going to give them as much depth, and I think we'll be into that bullpen pretty soon. And I think Cole's going to pitch a great game, probably better than the first game he pitched against these guys. So I think we win this one, right? Then we got Tyone in game 2. Tyone was really good last Wednesday. I saw it live. Tyone was really, really, really good. That's my picture of seeing him live. Lots of strikeouts in a short outing. I think it was like 6 strikeouts in 4 innings, something like that. I might be messing that up. But Tyone's been good. So I think Tyone's going to be great. He's going up against Ryu. We saw Ryu already once. The Yankees know how to hit Ryu. We didn't do it in game 1. I think it's the second time we face him. I think we'll get to him this time, especially if we're putting out the same offense that was in game 3 at Tampa Bay, right? Game 3. Kluber, the Klubot, right? You're saying, oh, well, I don't know, whatever. Like, who's got? I think game 3, Kluber is going up against, I forget this guy's name. Doesn't matter. I think Spring keeps coming to mind, but Spring was a reliever in the Tampa series. It's someone else for the Blue Jays. But anyway, Kluber's got game 3, and I think Kluber's going to be better this time. Kluber was pretty decent against Tampa against the Blue Jays the first time around. So I think he's going to be decent again, especially coming off this really short outing against Tampa. I think he's going to be way more economical with his pitches, and I think we're going to have a better outcome here. What do we do in terms of like bullpen is going to be difficult, right? We used a lot of the bullpen against Tampa. So That's my only worry. That if we do have a situation where Tyone is not gonna go pretty much into 7 innings, we know that. So we will need bullpen for the second game of this series, right? Will we have enough left if Kluber doesn't go really deep in the game? Will we have enough left to salvage the end of the game, right? This could easily be a situation where the Yankees drop 2 out of 3 here because the bullpen is a little bit burned out. It's possible. But I'm being optimistic, and I'm saying we take all 3 and we do it, starting with our starting pitching and our lineup continuing to stay awake and hit pitches that they should be hitting, right? I'm banking a lot on JMO 5-0, right? But so are you guys, right? Because if this guy works and Sevy works and Cole continues to do what Cole does and Monty stays Monty, these are going to be the guys pitching in October, and these are going to be the guys that we're banking on to win it all for us. Again, you already know. It is your boy, Francis Lee, for NYY News. Let's go Yankees.
Tell me what you